In a world screaming for attention, an unshakable presence can silence your enemies without a single word. What if the strongest weapon isn't noise, but stillness? Every day we're provoked by co-workers who undermine us, social media drama that pulls us in, or strangers cutting us off in traffic. It's tempting to lash out, to react in frustration. But that only hands your power away. In this video, you'll master 7 Stoic strategies to build an unshakable presence, a quiet strength that protects your peace and makes others rethink crossing you. We'll dive into embracing silence, controlling reactions, living with integrity, focusing on what matters, ignoring insults, guarding your circle, and leading by example. What if staying silent could be more intimidating than any argument? I know how it feels when someone pushes your buttons. It's tough. But Stoicism shows us a better path. Let's begin. Embrace silence as strength. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is arguing, voices raised, tension thick in the air. You could join in, add your voice to the chaos. But what if you didn't? What if instead you stayed silent? Not out of fear, but out of strength. In that moment, your silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a statement, a powerful one. It says, I'm in control. I choose when to speak, and when I do, you'll listen. That's the power of embracing silence. We've all been in those moments, caught off guard, tempted to shout back to prove our point. But what if silence could do more for us than words ever could? Today, on Stoic Teachings Today, we're diving into how silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the first step to building an unshakable presence. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see silence in a whole new light. So what does it mean to embrace silence as strength? In Stoic philosophy, silence isn't passive, it's power. The Stoics believed that staying quiet isn't about avoiding conflict or shrinking away. It's about observing, reflecting, and choosing your response with purpose, not reacting out of impulse. Think about it. How often do we blurt something out in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Silence gives us space. Space to breathe. Space to think. Space to stay calm when the world around us spins into chaos. It's not about biting your tongue or suppressing what you feel. It's about mastering yourself. In real life, this matters more than ever. Whether it's a heated argument with a friend, a stressful day at work, or even scrolling through endless online debates, silence lets us step back. It lets us see what's really happening instead of getting swept away. That's where true strength lies, not in shouting the loudest, but in holding steady. That's the foundation of an unshakable presence. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it perfectly. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. Simple, right? But profound. This isn't just about keeping quiet. It's about listening, really listening. Not just to others, but to ourselves. Epictetus is telling us that silence is a tool for self-control. It's a reminder that we don't need to fill every moment with words to prove our worth. Instead, we gain power by stepping back, taking in the full picture and deciding what's worth our energy. In Stoic philosophy, this is the heart of wisdom, knowing when to act and when to wait. And when we wait, when we listen, We're not just avoiding noise, we're building strength. Let me paint you a picture. Picture a tense negotiation. The room is buzzing, everyone's yelling, interrupting, trying to outtalk each other. Papers are scattered, voices overlap, and it's pure chaos. But one person sits there, silent. They don't jump in, they don't raise their voice, they just listen. Eyes steady, breathing calm, taking it all in. The others barely notice at first. They're too busy fighting to be heard. But then, after what feels like forever, that quiet person finally speaks, and the room stops. Everyone turns. Every word they say lands like a stone in still water, clear, deliberate, impossible to ignore. That silence wasn't weakness. It was control. It made them untouchable. We've all seen moments like this, haven't we? Maybe not in a boardroom, but at home, with family, or even with a stranger who pushed our buttons. That urge to snap back is strong, but when we hold it, when we stay quiet, something shifts. The air changes, and suddenly we're the ones in charge. I get it though. Staying silent isn't easy. We've all been there, heart racing, words burning on our tongues, desperate to defend ourselves or set someone straight. It feels unnatural to hold back, almost like losing. If I don't speak up, they'll think I'm weak, we tell ourselves. Or they'll think they've won. I've felt that too. That itch to argue, to prove I'm right. But here's the thing. Silence can feel like victory. Not the loud, fist-pumping kind, but a quiet, steady win. When you don't react, you don't give your power away. You keep it. You show that their words, their anger, their chaos, they don't own you. And that's where Stoic philosophy shines. It teaches us how to remain calm when everything else falls apart. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about choosing what deserves your voice. And in that choice, you find strength. So, how do we start? It's simpler than you might think. Next time tension rises, whether it's a disagreement with your partner, a frustrating call with customer service, or a coworker testing your patience, try this. Pause for 5 seconds before you reply. Just 5 seconds. Count them in your head if you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe. Let the impulse pass. Let the noise settle. Then respond. Not with anger, not with haste, but with purpose. Those 5 seconds might feel like forever at first, but they're your shield. They give you back control. They let silence show your strength. And here's the best part. Anyone can do this. Right now, today. No grand preparation. No Stoic mastery required. Just a moment of stillness. Try it. See how it feels. See how it changes the way others see you. Now here's the twist. Silence isn't just calm. It's a mystery that unnerves those who expect a fight. Think about it. When someone yells at you, they're bracing for a reaction. They want the clash, the back and forth. It's predictable. But when you don't give it to them, when you stay quiet, they don't know what to do. Why aren't they mad? What are they thinking? That silence throws them off balance. It's disarming. It's like stepping into a ring with someone swinging wildly, and instead of swinging back, you just stand there, unshaken. Suddenly, they're the ones stumbling. That's the surprise of silence. It shifts the power to you. Not because you fought harder, but because you didn't need to fight at all. That's an unshakable presence. in action. So I want to hear from you. When has staying quiet worked for you? Maybe it was a time you held back in an argument and walked away feeling stronger, or a moment you listened instead of speaking and it changed everything. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. We've all had those times where we wanted to lash out but chose silence instead. It's not easy. It takes guts. But when it works, it's powerful. Share your experience. Let's learn from each other, because that's what this community is about, growing together, one quiet moment at a time. Silence isn't just a break from the noise, it's a way to rise above it. It's Stoic philosophy made real, a tool to help us remain calm when the stakes feel high. And it's just the beginning. Now that we've explored the power of silence, let's take it a step further. How do we control our reactions to build on this strength? That's what's coming next. Stick around, you won't want to miss it. Control your reactions. You've just learned how silence can be your shield, how stepping back, listening and choosing when to speak gives you strength. But here's the thing, silence isn't just about what you don't say. It's also about what you don't do. It's about controlling what's inside, your reactions. Think about it. What happens when someone cuts you off in traffic? Or when a co-worker takes credit for your work? Your heart races. Your fists clench. You want to shout, to set things right. But what if you didn't? What if instead you stayed calm? Not because you're weak, but because you're powerful. Today, we're diving into how controlling your reactions defines your strength. It's not just about staying quiet, it's about mastering what's within. And trust me, when you learn this, you'll see why Stoicism teaches us to master emotions, not let them master us. So, why do your reactions matter so much? In Stoic philosophy, our reactions are the one thing we truly control, not what happens to us, because life will always throw chaos our way, but how we respond. That's where our power lies. When you react with anger, frustration, or fear, you're handing over your strength. You're letting someone else or something else decide how you feel. But when you stay calm, when you choose your response, you keep that power. You disarm your enemies, not with force, but with stillness. It's like standing in the eye of a storm. Everything swirls around you, but you remain untouched. That's the essence of inner peace. And in a world that thrives on reaction, choosing calm is revolutionary. It's not easy, but it's transformative. Stoicism tells us that our emotions don't have to rule us. We can rule them. We can decide what deserves our energy and what doesn't. That's real strength, not lashing out, but holding steady. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, nailed it when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Simple, right? But think about what that means. Your boss yells at you, that's out of your control. But whether you yell back or stay composed, that's your choice. A friend betrays you. Painful, yes. But do you let it consume you, or do you rise above? That's your power. Stoicism teaches us that external events are neutral. They don't have meaning until we give them meaning. When we react emotionally, we're giving away our strength. But when we pause, when we choose, we reclaim it. That's why mastering emotions is at the heart of Stoic wisdom. It's not about suppressing feelings, It's about understanding them, then deciding how to act. Epictetus isn't saying life won't hurt. He's saying you get to decide what you do with that hurt. And that decision changes everything. Let me tell you a story. My friend James worked for a boss who was, let's say, difficult. Every day, this boss would criticize him, sometimes in front of the whole team. At first, James would argue back, defending himself, trying to prove his worth. But it only made things worse. The boss thrived on the conflict, and James left work drained, frustrated. Then, one day, James decided to try something different. Instead of reacting, he stayed calm. When the boss snapped, James took a breath, nodded, and said, "I'll keep that in mind." No argument, no defense, just quiet strength. At first, the boss pushed harder, trying to get a rise out of him, but James held steady. And you know what happened? The boss backed off. He didn't know how to handle someone who wouldn't react. James's inner peace became his shield. It wasn't that he didn't care. He just chose not to let someone else control his emotions. That's the power of controlling your reactions. It doesn't just protect you, it disarms the other person. I've been there too, wanting to snap back, to fight. But watching James, I saw what calm could do. It's not weakness, it's winning without a fight. I get it though. Losing control feels natural. We're human. When someone pushes our buttons, the instinct is to push back. It feels like strength in the moment. But here's the truth. Reclaiming your calm feels better. It's like stepping out of a storm into clear air. You're no longer tossed around by every gust of wind. You stand firm. And over time, that firmness becomes who you are. It's not about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about choosing not to let it define you. That's what Stoicism offers, a way to rise above the chaos, to stay steady when everything else spins out of control. You don't have to be a philosopher to feel this. You've felt it before. That moment after the anger fades, when you realize you could have handled it differently. That's your starting point. That's where change begins. So, how do you start? It's simpler than you think. Next time you feel triggered, whether it's a rude comment, a stressful email, or a frustrating setback, try this. Take 3 slow breaths before you respond. Just 3. Inhale, hold, exhale, repeat. In those few seconds, you're giving yourself space to think, space to choose. It's not magic, but it's transformative. Those breaths are your anchor. They pull you back to center. They remind you that you control your next move. And here's the best part. Anyone can do this, right now, today. No Stoic mastery required, just a moment of pause. Try it. See how it feels. See how it changes the way you move through the world. It's small, but it's powerful. It's the first step to mastering emotions. Not all at once, but one breath at a time. Now, here's the surprise. Your calm doesn't just shield you, it makes others doubt their own strength. Think about it. When someone tries to provoke you and you don't react, it throws them off. They're ready for a fight, but you're not giving them one. Why aren't they mad? What are they planning? Your calmness becomes a mirror, reflecting their own chaos back at them. It's disarming. It's like watching someone swing at the air while you stand still, untouched. That's the power of key inner peace. It doesn't just protect you, it shifts the entire dynamic. And in that shift, you become untouchable. It's not what they expect. They think they'll break you, but instead, they start to wonder why they can't. That's when you know you've won, not by fighting, but by standing firm. So, what helps you stay calm under pressure? Maybe it's counting to 10, taking a walk, or reminding yourself of what matters. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. Because here's the thing, we've all lost control at some point. We've all reacted in ways we regret. But we've also had those moments where we held back, stayed calm, and walked away stronger. Share your story. Let's build this community together, one breath at a time. Your trick might be the one someone else needs. And who knows, maybe we'll all get a little calmer, a little stronger, just by talking it out. Controlling your reactions isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about mastering yourself. It's about choosing strength over impulse, calm over chaos. And when you do that, you're not just protecting your peace. You're building something unshakable, something no one can take away. Now that we've explored how to control your reactions, let's take it a step further. How do you live with integrity in a world that often rewards the opposite? That's what's coming next. Stick around. You won't want to miss it. Live with integrity. You've just learned how controlling your reactions can shield you from chaos and keep your power intact. But here's the thing. It's not just about how you respond in the moment. It's about why you respond that way. What if the key to unshakable strength isn't just about what you do, but why you do it? That's where integrity comes in. We've all faced those moments where it's tempting to take the easy way out, to bend the rules for convenience or approval. Maybe it was a small lie to avoid conflict, or cutting corners at work to meet a deadline. It's human. But deep down, we know that true strength doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from staying true to ourselves. Today, on Stoic Teachings Today, we're diving into how living with integrity is the backbone of an unshakable presence. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself and others. And trust me, when you master this, no one can shake you. So, what does it mean to live with integrity? In Stoic philosophy, integrity is your backbone. It's the alignment between your actions and your values. When what you do matches what you believe, you stand tall. No one can shake that. It's not about following rules for the sake of it. It's about living in accordance with reason and virtue, as the Stoics taught. In today's world, where compromise often seems rewarded, integrity can feel like swimming against the current. But here's the Stoic truth. True fulfillment doesn't come from external praise or quick wins. It comes from within. It comes from knowing you've done what's right, not what's easy. That's where inner peace begins. When your actions reflect your principles, you build a foundation that no storm can erode. That's the power of integrity. It's quiet, but it's unbreakable. Think about it. How often do we see people chasing fleeting rewards, money, status, likes, only to feel empty inside? Stoicism flips that script. It says your worth isn't in what others think of you, it's in what you know about yourself. And when you live with integrity, that knowledge is rock solid. You're not swayed by trends or pressures. You're grounded in something deeper, something no one can take away. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, said it best. If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Simple, right? But profound. This isn't just advice, it's a way of life. Aurelius is reminding us that integrity is black and white. There's no grey area when it comes to truth and justice. In Stoic philosophy, living with integrity means constantly choosing what aligns with reason and virtue, no matter the cost. It's not always easy, sometimes it's the hardest path. But that's why it's powerful. When you commit to this, you're not just building character, you're building a life that can withstand anything. Because at the end of the day, your integrity is your shield. It protects you from regret, from shame, and from the chaos of a world that often rewards the opposite. Imagine facing a tough choice. Say, calling out a wrong at work when staying silent would keep the peace. Aurelius's words cut through the noise. If it's not right, don't do it. That's it. No excuses, no justifications, just the truth. And when you live by that, you're free. Free from the weight of pretending to be someone you're not. Let me tell you a story. I once met a nurse working in a busy hospital. The pressure was immense. Long shifts, understaffing, and constant demands to do more with less. It would have been easy for her to cut corners, to rush through tasks, maybe skip a step here and there. No one would have noticed, but she didn't. She refused to compromise on patient care, even when it meant staying late or taking on extra work. Her colleagues noticed. Some admired her, but others, those who took the easy way, felt uneasy around her. Her quiet resolve earned respect, but it also instilled a kind of fear in those who couldn't sway her. They knew they couldn't pull her into their shortcuts. Her integrity was her strength, and it was unshakable. We've all faced similar moments, haven't we? Maybe not in a hospital, but at work, with friends, or even with ourselves. That temptation to bend, to take the easier path. I've been there. Maybe you have too. That time you wanted to skip the hard conversation or let something slide because it wasn't your problem. But each time we choose integrity, we build something stronger. We build trust in ourselves and from others. That nurse didn't need to announce her values. She lived them, and that's what made her stand out. I get it though. Staying true isn't always easy. We've all faced situations where compromising felt like the only option. Maybe it was telling a white lie to avoid hurting someone, or going along with something you didn't believe in to keep the peace. It's human. But here's the thing. Every time we bend, we chip away at our own foundation. And over time, that adds up. Stoicism teaches us that real power comes from staying true, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. Because integrity isn't about impressing others, it's about living in alignment with your own values. It's about being able to look in the mirror and know you did what was right. That's where inner peace comes from. Not from approval, not from success, but from knowing you stayed the course. Think back to a time you gave in. How did it feel afterward? Maybe it was relief at first, but then that nagging sense of unease crept in. Now compare that to a time you held firm. It might have been tough, but there's a quiet pride in that, isn't there? That's the power of integrity. It's not loud, but it's real. So, how do you start living with integrity? It's simpler than you think. Tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself one question. Did I live my values today? Be honest. If the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. Just adjust tomorrow. Maybe you snapped at someone when you didn't mean to, or maybe you let fear stop you from speaking up. That's okay. Integrity isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each day you get a chance to realign, to choose better. And here's the best part. It's never too late to start. You can begin right now. Take a moment tonight. Reflect. Ask the question. Then, tomorrow, make one small choice that aligns with your values. It could be as simple as owning up to a mistake or saying no to something that doesn't feel right. That's how you build integrity, one choice at a time. Don't overthink it. Start small. Maybe it's being honest when you'd rather dodge the truth, or keeping a promise you'd rather break. Those little moments, they add up. They turn into habits. And those habits, they become who you are. So try it tonight. Ask yourself, see what happens. Now, here's the surprise. Integrity isn't loud. It's a silent force that intimidates the dishonest. Think about it. When you live with integrity, you don't need to shout about it. You don't need to prove anything. Your actions speak for themselves. And that quiet consistency, it's powerful. It's like a mirror that reflects back at others. Those who lack integrity feel uneasy around it. They can't manipulate you, can't pull you into their games. Your strength becomes a silent challenge to their weakness. That's why integrity can be intimidating. Not because it's aggressive, but because it's unshakable. It's a force that doesn't need words. It just is. Picture that nurse again. She didn't argue or preach. She just did her job, her way. And that alone was enough to make others squirm. That's the twist Stoicism offers. The strongest presence isn't the loudest. It's the one that doesn't bend. Next time you're in a room full of compromises, try it. Stand firm. Watch how the air shifts. You'll see. So, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stood firm in your values when it was hard? Maybe it was saying no to a tempting offer, or standing up for someone when no one else would. How did it feel? Share your story in the comments below. Let's inspire each other. Because here's the thing, integrity isn't always rewarded in the moment. Sometimes it feels like you're the only one holding the line, but that's when it matters most. Your story might be the one someone else needs to hear. Maybe you've got a moment like that nurse, a time you chose the hard right over the easy wrong. Or maybe it's smaller, quieter, but just as real. Let's build this community together, one act of integrity at a time. Drop it in the comments. Let's see what we can learn from each other. Living with integrity isn't just about doing the right thing when no one's watching. It's about becoming the person who can face any storm with unwavering strength. It's the backbone of an unshakable presence. And when you live this way, you're not just protecting yourself, you're setting an example for others. Now, let's take it a step further. How do you focus on what truly matters in a world full of distractions? That's what's coming next. Stick around, you won't want to miss it. Focus on what you can control. You've just learned how living with integrity builds a foundation that no one can shake. But here's the thing. Even with integrity, life throws curveballs. Things we can't predict. Things we can't change, things we can't control. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, worrying about what might happen tomorrow, or replaying something from yesterday you wish you could undo? We've all been there. It's exhausting, isn't it? That restless feeling, that knot in your chest, the mind racing with what-ifs. It's human. But what if there was a way to break that cycle? To stop wasting energy on what's out of reach and focus only on what truly matters? Today, on Stoic Teachings. Today, we're diving into one of the most liberating Stoic principles. Focus on what you can control. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about reclaiming your power. And trust me, when you get this right, you'll find a peace that nothing can touch. So, what does it mean to focus on what you can control? In Stoic philosophy, it's beautifully simple. Our peace of mind, our strength, depends on where we put our energy. The Stoics teach us to zero in on what's within our power, our own thoughts, our actions, our responses. That's it. Everything else, outcomes, other people's choices, the twists of fate, we let them go. Not because they don't matter, but because they're not ours to hold. Worrying about what's out of reach is like trying to catch the wind. It slips through your fingers and you're left empty-handed. Stoicism flips that on its head. It says, stop chasing what you can't grasp. Focus on what you can shape. Think about your life right now. How often do you stress over things you can't change? The weather ruining your plans, someone's harsh words about you, a mistake from years ago. It's draining. But here's where Stoicism shines. It asks a powerful question. What can I do now? Not, why did this happen? Not, what if this goes wrong? But, what's in my hands today? That's your power. Not in rewriting the past or predicting the future, but in choosing your next step. In real life, this isn't just philosophy. It's survival. Whether it's a job you didn't land, a friendship that faded, or a deadline you missed, Stoicism pulls you back to the present. It says, you can't control what's done, but you can control what you do next. And that's where freedom begins. That's how you practice Stoicism daily, by choosing clarity over chaos. Let's lean on a Stoic voice to deepen this. Seneca, one of the greats, put it perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Let that sink in. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. How true is that? Picture this. You're waiting for news, maybe a doctor's call, a job offer, a message that could change everything. Your mind takes off. You're picturing the worst. You're living it before it even happens. Hours pass, maybe days, and you're a wreck over something that hasn't occurred. Seneca's point hits hard. Our fears amplify what's real. We torture ourselves with possibilities, not facts. In Stoic terms, this is a wake-up call. Stop feeding the imagination. Deal with what's in front of you. It's not about pretending there's no risk. It's about not letting fear run the show. Say you're nervous about a presentation. You could spend all night imagining blank stares or tough questions. Or you could say, I can't control how they react, but I can control how well I prepare. That's Stoicism in action. It's tough to break that habit of worry, but when you do, you feel lighter. You're not ignoring the challenge. You're just focusing where it counts. Your effort, your mindset, your growth. That's the strength Seneca's pointing us toward. Now, let me tell you a story to bring this home. A writer I know poured everything into her first novel. Months of late nights, endless revisions, her heart on every page. She dreamed of rave reviews, of readers connecting with her words. But when it launched, ouch, the feedback was brutal. Critics ripped it apart. Friends didn't even comment. It hurt. At first, she couldn't let it go. She'd scroll through reviews, replaying every jab in her head. She'd lie awake, wondering why she even bothered. Sound familiar? We've all had moments like that, where the world's response stings and we obsess over it. But then something shifted. She realized she couldn't control what people thought. She couldn't rewrite those reviews, but she could control her craft. So she let go. She stopped checking Goodreads. She picked up her pen instead. She wrote better, sharper, truer to herself. Not for applause, but for mastery. And over time, her work grew stronger. Her next book? It didn't need loud praise. It stood on its own. I've been there too, fixating on what I couldn't change, like a harsh word or a missed chance. But watching her, I saw it. Focusing on what you can control isn't just practical, it's powerful. She didn't waste energy on opinions. She built something real. That's the Stoic way, strength through focus. Maybe you've had a moment like this, a time when the outcome wasn't what you hoped, but you doubled down on your effort. That's where growth lives. I get it though. Letting go isn't easy. We're wired to overthink, to cling to what's slipping away. It's hard to stop worrying about tomorrow or regretting yesterday. We're human after all. But here's the beauty of Stoicism. It's not about perfection. It's about practice. Every time you catch yourself spiraling over a rude comment, a looming deadline, a what if, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, can I control this? If not, let it drift. It's tough at first. I've caught myself mid-worry, my mind racing about something I can't touch. But gently, I pull back. I refocus. And each time, it gets a little easier. Think about the last time you obsessed over something out of reach. How did it feel? Heavy, right? Now imagine letting it go, not ignoring it, but accepting it. That's where peace hides. It's not about pretending life's perfect. It's about choosing where your energy goes. And when you do that, you're not just coping, you're thriving. You're building something no one can take away. Because no matter what hits you, you know where your power lies. So, how do you start? It's simpler than you think. Grab a piece of paper. Right now, if you can, list everything stressing you out. Everything. The argument you had, the bill that's due, the news you can't stop watching. Get it all down. Now take a pen and cross out what you can't control. Other people's moods, gone. The past, cross it out. What might happen next week? Let it go. Look at what's left. That's your focus. Maybe it's how you respond, how you prepare, how you take care of yourself. That's where your energy belongs. Commit to those things. This isn't about denial, it's about clarity. Try it tonight. See what you can release. It's small, but it's mighty. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Next time you're overwhelmed, pull out that list, mentally or on paper, and refocus. It's how you practice Stoicism daily. One choice at a time, one stressor crossed off. What's left? That's your power. Start there. You'll feel the shift, I promise. Now here's a twist you might not expect. Stoics actually imagine the worst, to love the present. It's called negative visualization. And it's not about gloom. It's about gratitude. Sounds strange, right? But hear me out. Picture losing something you care about. Your job, a loved one, your health. Not to scare yourself, but to wake up. Suddenly, today feels richer. That coffee in your hand? Precious. That laugh with a friend? Gold. The Stoics did this to stay grounded. Nothing lasts forever. They knew that. So they savored what was. Try it tomorrow morning. Wake up and think, what if this was gone? Then look around. Feel that gratitude wash over you. It's not dark. It's clarifying. It pulls you back to what matters. By facing the worst, you find joy in the now. That's the Stoic secret to living fully. It's a game changer. Give it a shot. See how it lands. So, what's one thing you've let go of lately? A grudge you dropped? A fear you released? A need for someone's approval? How did it feel? Share it in the comments. Let's spark something together. Your story could light the way for someone else. Maybe it's a big moment, like walking away from a toxic job, or something small, like ignoring a petty jab and moving on. We all slip into worry sometimes, but each time you let go, you get stronger, lighter. Tell us about it. What did you release? How did it free you? Let's build this community one shared step at a time. Drop it below. I can't wait to hear. Focusing on what you can control isn't just about cutting stress. It's about claiming your power. It's about building a life where your energy fuels what matters. And when you master this, you're not just getting by, you're thriving. Now, let's take it deeper. How do you find gratitude in a world that often feels heavy? That's next. Stick around, you won't want to miss it. Practice indifference to insults. Have you ever been scrolling through your phone and bam, a nasty comment pops up out of nowhere? Maybe it's a jab at your work, your looks, or something you care about. Or picture this. You're at work, pouring your heart into a project, and a co-worker tosses out a snide remark that hits you right in the chest. It stings, doesn't it? Your stomach tightens. Your mind starts racing. We've all been there. Those moments when someone's words feel like a slap you didn't see coming. You've just learned how focusing on what you can control sets you free from life's chaos. But here's where it gets real. What about the things people say? The insults, the criticism? That's out of your hands too. Welcome to Stoic Teachings today. Today, we're exploring how to practice indifference to insults. It's not about shutting down your emotions. It's about shielding your peace and finding a strength that no one can shake. Let's start with the heart of it. Insults only hurt if you let them. That's the Stoic way. Their words, their problem. Your inner peace, that's yours to protect. Stoics teach us that what someone says or thinks doesn't have to touch you. It's like someone yelling in a storm. You hear the noise, but you don't have to step into the rain. We live in a world where words fly fast, online, at work, even at home. It's easy to get caught up, isn't it? A harsh comment lands, and suddenly you're replaying it, feeling smaller, maybe even firing back. But Stoicism flips the script. It says, their opinion isn't your reality. You don't have to let it in. Think about the last time someone's words got under your skin. Did it change who you are? No, but it might have stolen your calm. That's where this practice comes in. It's about staying steady when the world tries to rattle you. It's not pretending you're invincible. It's knowing you don't need their approval to stand tall. This is how Stoicism meets real life. When the troll types, when the critic sneers, you can choose to let it pass. Your peace stays intact. That's power. That's how to remain calm when the noise gets loud. Here's some wisdom from the Stoic master himself, Epictetus. He said, "Another won't hurt you unless you let them." Simple, sharp, true. What's he telling us? You're the gatekeeper of your mind. Someone can throw an insult your way, but it only lands if you open the door. It's not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about deciding it doesn't define you. Imagine someone hands you a gift you don't want. You don't have to take it, right? Same with words. You can leave them where they fall. Epictetus isn't saying you won't feel the sting. He's saying you choose what comes next. Do you carry it, or do you let it go? That's the Stoic secret. Your reaction is your strength. When you get this, insults lose their grip. They're just echoes, loud for a moment, then gone. You stay whole. You stay you. Now, let's step back in time. Picture Socrates wandering through Athens. The marketplace is buzzing, merchants shouting, crowds bustling, but not everyone's a fan. Some mock him. They laugh at his bare feet, his odd questions, his relentless search for truth. "Look at this fool," they say. And Socrates? He smiles. He nods. Maybe he even chuckles. His calm turns the tables. The critics look petty, their words bouncing off him like pebbles off a wall. He's not weak. He's unbreakable. His indifference isn't about ignoring them. It's about knowing their noise can't touch what matters, his soul, his purpose. I've had my own Socrates moment. Once, someone tore into something I'd worked hard on, a project I believed in. Their words cut deep. I wanted to argue, to prove them wrong. But then I thought of Socrates in that marketplace. I took a breath. I let it go. And you know what? The hurt faded. My work stood on its own. Maybe you've been there too. A time when someone's words hit hard, but you found a way to rise above. That's what indifference looks like. It's quiet strength, not loud defiance. So, how do you do it? It's easier than you think. Next time an insult comes your way, big or small, pause. Think this. This is their opinion, not my reality. Then move on. Don't argue. Don't dwell. Just let it be. It's like catching a wave of frustration and letting it roll past. You don't have to ride it. Try it. Say it to yourself. Their words, not my truth. Feel the weight lift. It's not about bottling up your feelings. It's about choosing where they land. Maybe it's a rude email, a snarky comment at dinner, or a dig from a stranger online. Wherever it happens, this works. I've done it. You can too. The first time might feel strange, but the freedom, that's real. You're not proving a point to them. You're proving something to yourself. Your peace matters more than their words. Start today, right now. The next insult you face, let it slide. You've got the tools. Use them. Here's something you might not expect. Indifference isn't cold. It's a warm shield for your soul. Surprised? I was too. We often think Stoicism means turning off your heart, but it's the opposite. It's about guarding what keeps you alive, your spirit, your light. When you let an insult go, you're not freezing out the world. You're wrapping yourself in something stronger. It's like sitting by a hearth while the wind howls outside. The storm can't touch you, not because you don't feel it, but because you've built a sanctuary. Indifference doesn't make you distant. It makes you free. Free to care about what's real, your growth, your joy, your path. That's the Stoic twist. Letting go isn't empty. It's full, it's warm, it's yours. Next time you shrug off a jab, notice that warmth. It's there, waiting. Now, I'm curious. How do you brush off negativity? What's your move? Maybe it's a quiet breath, a walk around the block, or a line you tell yourself. Drop it in the comments. Let's share. Because we've all faced those moments, words that sting, judgments that linger, but we've also found ways to let them go. Your trick might help someone watching right now. Maybe you've got a story, a time you shook off an insult and felt lighter for it. Or maybe you're still figuring it out. That's okay. Tell us. Let's build this together. How do you stay calm when the world gets sharp? I want to hear it. You're not alone in this. We're all learning. I'll be honest. Insults hurt. I've felt that sting too. A careless word, a cutting remark. It's like a thorn you can't unsee. It digs in, and in that moment, indifference feels miles away. We're not statues. We're human. But here's what I've found. It fades when you let go. It's not instant. It's not perfect. But it works. The next time you're hit, feel it, acknowledge it, then release it. This is their opinion, not my reality. Say it, mean it. Watch the thorn lose its grip. I've carried those wounds longer than I should have, replaying, rethinking, resenting. Maybe you have too, but we don't have to. Stoicism shows us how to remain calm, how to keep our inner peace sacred. It's a practice, not a miracle, and every step makes you stronger. You're not erasing the pain, you're outgrowing it. This is just the beginning. Mastering indifference to insults doesn't just shield you, it lifts you. It's a quiet power that grows with every try. And now that you've got this, let's look ahead. How do you find gratitude when life feels heavy? That's next. Stay with us. You're on this journey too. Guard your inner circle. You've just learned how to brush off insults and keep your calm. But what about the people you let into your life? Have you ever trusted someone with a big idea only to see them shrug it off? Or worse, turn it against you? That moment stings. It's like a crack in the armor you didn't even know was there. We've all felt it, pouring our heart out, then wishing we could take it back. You've mastered letting go of harsh words. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Who you let close. Welcome back to Stoic Teachings today. This is about guarding your inner circle. Not to push everyone away, but to choose with care. Because the people you trust, they shape your peace. Here's the core of it. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our circle matters. Who you let in doesn't just influence your mood, it shapes your whole path. The Stoics weren't about trusting everyone blindly. They picked wisely, kept their plans tight. Why? Because not everyone deserves access to your world. Imagine handing your house keys to someone you barely know. Sounds reckless, right? So why do we sometimes spill our dreams to people who haven't earned that trust? In Stoic philosophy, it's not about paranoia. It's about wisdom. Mystery isn't secrecy. It's strength. When you don't overshare, you hold the reins. You build what we call your unshakable presence. Today, we're pushed to post everything, tell everyone, be an open book. But Stoicism says no. Guard your space. Be selective. Your inner world, your peace, your plans, it's sacred. Don't let just anyone trample through. This isn't about isolation, it's about protecting what fuels you. It's Stoic philosophy in action. Choosing who walks with you shapes how steady you stand. Let's lean on Seneca for a moment. He said, "Associate with those who improve you." It's straightforward, profound. Seneca's not suggesting you ditch everyone. He's urging you to be deliberate. Surround yourself with people who push you forward, who sharpen your edges, who mirror the strength you want to grow, and those who don't, step away. It's not cruel, it's pruning. Like tending a garden, you pull the weeds so the good stuff thrives. Seneca's words hit hard because they're true. Your circle isn't just company, it's a force. Guard it. Make room for the ones who lift you. That's how Stoics live. Not alone, but free. Not closed off, but intentional. When you choose this way, your peace settles deeper. Your roots grow stronger. You rise. Now picture this. A startup founder I know had a wild idea, something big, something new. He didn't blast it across social media or chat it up at every coffee shop. He stayed quiet, worked late nights, tweaked every detail. Only a few trusted souls knew the full plan. Competitors? Clueless. Friends would ask, "What's up with you?" He'd just grin. "Something cool," he'd say. No hints, no leaks. Then, boom, launch day. His product dropped like a storm. No one saw it coming. Competitors flailed, trying to catch up. He didn't just survive, he soared. I've felt this too. Years back, I told a so-called friend about a dream I had. They smirked. "Good luck with that," they said. "It cut deep. Maybe you've been there, opened up, then regretted it." That's the lesson. Guarding your circle isn't about distrust. It's about value. Your dreams are gold. Share them with those who'll polish them, not toss them aside. That's how you build something real. That's Stoic philosophy at work. So, what can you do? It's not complicated. Start with a look at your life. Think about the 5 people you're around most. Do they spark something in you, push you to grow, cheer your wins? Or do they sap your energy, doubt your moves, stir up chaos? Be real with yourself. If someone's dragging you down, you don't need a big showdown, just distance. Share your big dreams with the ones who've earned it, the ones who've shown they'll root for you. Next time you're buzzing with an idea, stop. Ask, who needs to hear this? Pick the worthy, the supporters, not the skeptics. It's not about hiding, it's about strategy. Try it once. Guard one plan. See how it feels. Your focus will tighten. Your energy will lift. That's the Stoic way. Small choices, big strength. Start now. You'll feel the shift. Here's something you might not see coming. Privacy isn't weakness. It's power in plain sight. Sounds odd, right? We're taught that holding back means fear. Stoicism flips that. It's confidence. When you don't shout every step, you keep the upper hand. Others wonder. You stay steady. Think of a chess player. They don't announce their next move. They play it and win. That startup founder, his silence was his weapon. He didn't need applause. He needed results. Privacy isn't about sneaking around. It's about focus. You're not wasting energy on the wrong ears. You're saving it for what matters. Next time you're itching to spill, pause. See privacy as your edge. It's not hiding, it's holding power. Test it. Watch what happens. Now, I want to hear from you. Ever had to rethink who you trust? Maybe a friend who turned cold when you needed them, or a co-worker who twisted your words. What went down? How did it hit you? Drop it in the comments. We've all trusted the wrong person at some point, stumbled, learned, but we've also found the gold, the ones who stand by us, who guard our dreams like their own. Tell us your story. What shifted for you? Did you set a boundary and feel the weight lift? Or are you still sorting it out? No judgment. Share it. Your moment might spark something for someone else. Let's build this together. One lesson, one step. I get it. We all want to connect. It's in us. Sharing feels good. Laying out our hopes, our fears, our wins. It's natural. But here's the Stoic truth. Not everyone's ready for that gift. It's not about being distant. It's about being discerning. Think of it like this. You wouldn't give your keys to someone who'd wreck your place. So why hand your trust to someone who'd drop it? I've done it. Overshared with the wrong person. It backfired. Maybe you have too. That's fine. We're not perfect. We're growing. Stoicism isn't about nailing it every time. It's about getting wiser. Next time you'll hesitate. You'll weigh it. Does this person build me up or break me down? It's tough at first, but it frees you. When you get it right, your peace thickens, your dreams take root, you fly. That's worth it. That's how you live Stoic philosophy, one choice at a time. Guarding your inner circle isn't about walls, it's about the right doors. It's picking who walks this road with you. Get this down, and your strength solidifies. You become unshakable. Next up, we'll dive into finding gratitude when everything feels heavy. Stick around. You're not alone here. Led by example. You've learned to guard your inner circle. Now, let's explore how to lead those you trust and those you don't. What if the most powerful way to influence others isn't through words, but through the quiet strength of your actions? We've all seen it. Someone who talks a big game but doesn't follow through. It's hollow, empty. But then there are those rare people who don't say much, yet their presence commands respect. They don't need to shout their values, they live them. That's the kind of leadership Stoicism calls us to. Welcome back to Stoic Teachings Today. In this section, we're diving into how to lead by example. It's not about preaching or proving yourself. It's about embodying your virtues so fully that others can't help but notice. And when you do this, you're not just leading, you're building unshakable confidence. Let's explore how. Here's the heart of it. Actions outshine words, always. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true leadership isn't about telling others what to do, it's about showing them. It's about living your virtues so clearly that they become a beacon for others, whether it's courage, kindness, or integrity. When you act on what you believe, you don't need to argue or explain. Your life becomes the lesson. In today's world, we're surrounded by noise, people shouting their opinions, debating endlessly about what's right. But Stoicism cuts through that. It says, stop talking, start doing. Imagine the impact if, instead of arguing about what's fair, you simply acted fairly. Instead of debating kindness, you showed it. That's how you lead. Not by force, but by example. And here's the thing, it's not just about others. When you live this way, you build something inside yourself, confidence that no one can shake. Because your strength doesn't come from approval or praise. It comes from knowing you've lived true to your values. That's unshakable. That's the Stoic way. Let's lean on a Stoic master for this one. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, said it best. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. It's sharp, it's clear, and it's everything Stoicism stands for. Aurelius isn't saying discussion is worthless. He's saying action is worth more. You could spend hours debating what courage looks like, or you could step up when it's hard. You could talk about honesty, or you could tell the truth when it stings. That's the point. Leading by example isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about choosing to act, even when it's tough, even when no one's watching. Because in Stoicism, your character is your legacy. And when you live this way, you inspire others without saying a word. You become the kind of person people look to, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. That's the quiet power of leading by example. It's not loud, it's lasting. Now let's look back at history for a moment. Cato the Younger, a Roman senator known for his unshakable principles. He didn't give grand speeches about honor. He didn't need to. His life was the speech. When corruption swirled around him, Cato stood firm. He refused bribes, rejected shortcuts, and lived with such integrity that even his enemies couldn't ignore it. People mocked him at first, called him stubborn, old-fashioned. But over time, his consistency wore them down. His actions silenced the doubters. They couldn't argue with a life lived in truth. I've seen this in my own life too. A mentor of mine never lectured about hard work. He just showed up early, stayed late, and poured himself into his craft. His dedication didn't need words. It inspired everyone around him, including me. Maybe you've known someone like that, a parent, a friend, a teacher who didn't preach. They just lived, and in their living, they led. That's what Cato embodied. That's what we can embody too. So, how do you start? It's simpler than you think. Pick one virtue, courage, kindness, patience, and act on it today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Let's say you choose kindness. Look for one small way to show it. Maybe it's a smile to a stranger, a thank you note you've been meaning to send, or a moment of patience when you'd rather snap. Or take courage. Speak up in a meeting when you'd usually stay quiet. Say no to something that doesn't align with your values. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be real. And here's the key. Don't announce it. Don't post about it. Just do it. Let your actions speak. That's how you build unshakable confidence. One choice at a time. Try it. Pick your virtue. Act on it before the day ends. You'll feel the difference. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And every step, no matter how small, strengthens you. That's the Stoic path. Start now. Here's something you might not expect. Leading quietly inspires more than shouting ever could. Think about it. The loudest voice in the room often gets attention, but it's fleeting. It fades. But the person who acts with quiet strength, their impact lingers. It's like a stone dropped in water. The ripples spread far beyond the splash. When you lead by example, you're not demanding followers. You're inviting them. You're showing what's possible. And here's the twist. You don't need to be in charge to lead. You could be the youngest in the room, the newest on the team. Your actions still matter. Your choices still inspire. That's the surprise of Stoicism. True leadership isn't about titles. It's about character. And when you live that way, others notice. They follow, or they step aside. Either way, you've already won. Now, I want to hear from you. What virtue drives you? Is it courage, honesty, compassion? Drop it in the comments below. Tell us why it matters to you. Maybe it's a story of a time you leaned on it, or a moment you wish you had. Let's share. Because here's the thing, virtues aren't abstract. They're alive in us. They're the threads that weave our lives together. Your story might spark something in someone else. Maybe you've lived with integrity when it was hard, or shown kindness when it wasn't deserved. Or perhaps you're still figuring it out. That's okay. We all are. Share your virtue. Let's build this community, one choice at a time. I can't wait to hear what drives you. I'll be honest, living up to our ideals is hard. We're not Stoic sages. We're human. We stumble. We fall short. I've had days where I meant to be patient, but snapped instead. Nights where I replayed my mistakes, wishing I'd chosen differently. Maybe you've been there too. But here's what Stoicism teaches us. Every step counts. Every time you choose to act, even imperfectly, you're building something. You're building unshakable confidence. Not the loud, flashy kind, but the quiet kind that grows from knowing you tried. You acted. You lived your values, even if just for a moment. And that's enough. Because leading by example isn't about being flawless. It's about being real. It's about showing up again and again and letting your actions speak. So don't wait for perfection. Start where you are. Pick one virtue. Live it today. You've got this. Leading by example isn't just about influencing others. It's about becoming the person you're meant to be. It's about building a confidence that no storm can shake. And when you live this way, you're not just leading, you're thriving. Now, let's wrap this up with how all these lessons come together. Stay with us for the conclusion. You're almost there. And there you have it. We've unpacked 7 Stoic strategies to build an unshakable presence. Silence as strength, your quiet power, controlled reactions, calmness over chaos, integrity, the root of confidence, focus, mastering what's yours to shape, indifference to insults, your peace, unbroken, a guarded circle, trust wisely, and leading by example, actions that echo louder than words. This all comes down to one truth. Control what you can, embrace what you can't. That's the Stoic way to rise above. It's not about avoiding life's storms, it's about choosing your anchor, your mind, your choices, your calm. That's where strength lives. Everything else, let it pass. Want to start today? It's simple. Pause before you react. One breath, one moment. Feel the urge, then let it go. Try it today. See how it shifts you. Small steps build unshakable roots. If this spoke to you, hit like and subscribe. We're walking this path together, and your support keeps us going. Drop a comment. What's your favorite strategy? What hit home? Share it with us. Let's grow as a community. Stoicism isn't just ideas. It's a life you live. Begin now. You're ready.